Where legends breathe again. Eldmyth. In the forests of Japan lives a creature of laughter, deception, and dangerous magic. The Tanuki is not just a playful trickster, it is a shapeshifter, a master of illusion, and a mirror of human greed and desire. But when the joke ends, the Tanuki is still watching. There is a rustle in the bamboo grove, a sound that is not quite the wind. A shadow shifts where no tree stands, a presence felt more than seen, a belly-dragging, barrel-shaped silhouette that vanishes with a mischievous flicker. This is not the domain of gods or demons, but of something older, more primal, and infinitely more playful. Welcome to the world of the Tanuki, the shape-shifting trickster of Japan, a creature woven into the very fabric of the land's folklore. Forget the solemn deities of mountain peaks. Here, in the twilight spaces between village and forest, thrives a being of profound contradictions. It is a creature of immense, jovial good fortune, yet capable of unsettling deception. It is a symbol of earthy abundance, with its rotund form and iconic, oversized scrotum, yet it dances with the ethereal magic of transformation. Its eyes, often depicted as wide, dark pools of knowing mirth, hold the secrets of ancient woods and the silent laughter of stones. To speak of the Tanuki is to speak of the spirit of the land itself, untamed, unpredictable, generous, and sly. It is a reminder that the wilderness is not just a place of danger, but of profound, chaotic hospitality. As the moon rises over thatched roofs and the paths into the forest grow indistinct, listen closely. That soft thump might be a falling acorn. Or it might be the sound of a tanuki, drumming its belly like a war drum for a festival of illusions, inviting, or perhaps challenging, you to see the world not as it is, but as it could be. The tanuki's roots dig deep into the fertile soil of Japanese animism, a time when every rock, tree, and stream possessed its own spirit, or kami. Its earliest known depictions are not in story scrolls, but in the silent language of archaeology. Edo-period clay figures, dating back thousands of years, show rotund, animalistic forms that scholars cautiously link to proto-tanuki imagery, representing fertility and the bounty of the land. The creature's name itself is telling. While now referring specifically to the raccoon dog, Nyctereutes procyon, the real animal, the word's ancient usage blurred the lines between this specific canine and other forest-dwelling mammals, allowing the mythical being to absorb characteristics of badgers, foxes, and even bears in regional lore. This fluidity in identity is the first clue to its legendary nature. It was never just one thing. By the Heian period, the tanuki had firmly entered written records, often appearing in setsuwa or anecdotal literature. Unlike the more sinister or revered kitsune, the fox, the tanuki was frequently portrayed as a bumbling, gregarious, yet ultimately benevolent figure. Its transformations were less about divine manipulation and more about earthly hijinks or desperate, clumsy attempts to interact with, or sometimes prank, the human world. Its most famous attribute, the enormously enlarged scrotum, is not a vulgar modern addition, but a centuries-old pun. The Japanese word for testicles, kintama, shares the character for gold kin, leading to a potent symbol of financial luck and expansive fortune. The tanuki could stretch this skin to incredible sizes, using it as a raincoat, a boat, or a drum, turning a biological feature into a tool of whimsical utility and prosperity. To encounter a tanuki was to enter a game whose rules were written in shadows and laughter. Travelers on mountain passes at dusk were particularly vulnerable. One might hear the comforting sound of a nearby festival, drums, flutes, and merry shouts, only to follow the noise and find an empty clearing, the sounds evaporating into the chirping of crickets. This was the tanuki's spectral parade, a auditory illusion designed to lead the lonely astray. More direct encounters often involved commerce. A tanuki might transform into a traveling monk or a beautiful merchant, selling exquisite rare goods, tea kettles, silk, or sake. The transaction would feel real, the weight of the coin leaving one's purse definite. But by morning light, the purchased items would reveal their true nature. Leaves turned to gold, mud to fine pottery, and water to expensive wine. The lesson was one of caveat emptor, a warning against greed and the perils of deals that seemed too good to be true. Yet people did not solely fear the tanuki, they also courted its favor. Outside restaurants and homes, one often sees ceramic tanuki statues, usually with a wide, friendly grin, a straw hat, a sake bottle, and a promissory note. These are not ancient talismans but relatively modern inventions, yet they tap into the older belief. They invite the tanuki's spirit of abundance. The sake bottle promises it will never go thirsty on the premises, the big belly signifies entrepreneurial appetite, and the large scrotum assures financial expansion. To disrespect such a statue, or to harm a real tanuki, was to invite a cascade of petty misfortunes: spoiled food, misplaced tools, mysterious noises, a ghostly prank war waged by an offended forest spirit. Among the most beloved tales is that of Bunbuku Chagama, the fortune-brewing tea kettle. In one version, a poor man saves a tanuki from a trap. In gratitude, the creature transforms itself into an exquisite empty iron tea kettle. The man sells it to a nearby temple, where a novice monk is tasked with boiling water. When placed over the fire, the tanuki kettle, unable to bear the heat, sprouts legs, a tail, and a panicked face, and scrambles around the monastery in a chaotic, clattering dash. The head priest, seeing the magical nature of the object, returns it to the kind man. Together they devise a plan. The tanuki will transform only partially, becoming a kettle with legs, and perform acrobatic dances in street performances. Their show becomes a sensational success, earning them great wealth. Finally content, the tanuki reverts to its true form, bows to its friend, and returns to the forest, leaving the man prosperous. This story encapsulates the tanuki's essence. It repays kindness with loyalty. Its magic is chaotic but ultimately beneficent, and its power is harnessed not for domination, but for mutual prosperity and joyous spectacle. It is a folk parable of cooperation between humanity and the wild, where understanding and compassion yield rewards far greater than violence or possession. Not all tales end in laughter. Some speak of a darker, more tragic aspect of the tanuki's transformative power, tied to its deep emotional bonds. There is a cycle of stories where a tanuki, often a mother, takes the form of a human to interact closely with people, sometimes even marrying and bearing children. The illusion is perfect, sustained by love or necessity, but the truth always risks exposure, often in a moment of unguarded instinct or overwhelming shock. In one such story, a woman known for her kindness and skill at weaving is, in reality, a tanuki. Her secret is kept for years, until a terrible fire breaks out in the village. In her panic and instinct to protect her human family, she forgets her human form. Her children witness not their mother, but a large, frantic tanuki desperately trying to drag them to safety. The revelation is catastrophic, shattering the family and forcing the tanuki to flee, heartbroken, back into the lonely woods. These myths underscore a poignant limit to the tanuki's magic. While it can change its shape, it cannot change its fundamental, wild nature. The stories evoke a deep sense of pathos, exploring themes of otherness, the fragility of constructed identity, and the painful divide between the human and natural worlds. The tanuki's tragedy is its desire to bridge that divide, a desire often thwarted by the very instincts that define it. The tanuki's most famous legendary feat is the tanuki no kozen, the tanuki's night parade of 100 demons. While many yokai participate in this spectral procession, the tanuki is often its jovial master of ceremonies. In these stories, a particularly powerful and old tanuki, having mastered its magical arts, seeks to display its power not through malice, but through overwhelming, surreal spectacle. It would summon all the local spirits and goblins, and together, under the full moon, they would march through sleeping villages. The parade is a cacophony of the impossible: umbrellas hopping on one leg, lanterns with tongues of fire singing songs, household tools dancing jigs, and the tanuki itself, swollen to gigantic proportions, drumming on its vast belly as a thunderous bass rhythm for the chaotic orchestra. The rule for humans was strict. Witness the parade only from absolute stillness and silence behind closed shutters. To look upon it directly, or to make a sound, was to invite madness or to be swept away into the supernatural throng, never to return. This myth elevates the Tanuki from a simple trickster to a lord of the liminal, a conductor of the world's inherent chaos and magic. It is a celebration of the wildness that exists just beyond the fragile borders of human order, a reminder that the night belongs to forces older and stranger than ourselves. Yet for all its power, the Tanuki is often portrayed as losing contests of wits against the more intellectually refined kitsune, the fox. This dynamic is a key part of its folklore identity. Where the fox is sleek, patient, and strategically cunning, the Tanuki is impulsive, emotional, and relies on brute force magic or hardy gusto. In a typical story, both creatures might challenge each other to a transformation duel to cross a river or fool a human. The fox might seamlessly become a beautiful princess in a palanquin, executed with elegant precision. The Tanuki, overconfident, might transform into a duplicate of the princess, but forget to hide its tail, or become a grand samurai but with comically crossed eyes. Its deception is discovered, leading to a humiliating chase. This recurring motif serves to humanize the Tanuki, endearing it to listeners. Its failures make it relatable. It is the underdog, the one whose heart is bigger than its talent, whose ambitions outpace its attention to detail. This perceived gullibility or clumsiness made it, ironically, a more approachable and sympathetic figure than the perfectly cunning fox. People saw in the Tanuki their own foibles, their own moments of overreach and subsequent embarrassment, and thus forgave its trickery because it, too, was often the butt of the joke. The Tanuki has effortlessly shuffled from ancient folklore into the heart of modern Japanese and global, popular culture, its shape shifting to fit new mediums. In Studio Ghibli's masterpiece, Pom Poko, the Tanuki are the tragicomic heroes, using their iconic belly drumming and transformation powers in a desperate, often hilarious war to save their forest home from urban development. The film brilliantly visualizes their legendary abilities while injecting contemporary environmental and social commentary. In video games, from Super Mario to Animal Crossing and countless RPGs, the Tanuki appears as a friendly merchant, a helpful guide, or a playful enemy, its form often simplified to its most charming elements. The round belly, the leaf on its head, a nod to transformation magic, and the friendly grin. This modern sanitization has largely stripped away the creature's more uncanny or tragic edges, transforming it into a pure symbol of whimsy and good fortune. Yet, even in this friendly guise, the core remains. The Tanuki suit in Mario allows the plumber to float and change form, a direct link to the myth. The ubiquitous ceramic statues continue to stand guard outside businesses, a folk practice alive and well. The Tanuki's evolution from a potentially dangerous forest spirit to a cute, lucky mascot reflects a broader cultural domestication of the wild, but also a testament to the creature's enduring, adaptable appeal. Beyond entertainment, the Tanuki persists in regional festivals and local pride. In Shikoku, the city of Matsuyama celebrates the Matsuyama Tanuki Festival, where performers don costumes and parade, celebrating the creature's cheerful spirit. Certain towns claim to be the setting for specific famous tales, offering Tanuki trails for tourists. This commercial and celebratory adoption, however, hasn't entirely erased the older beliefs. In rural areas, some still speak of hearing the phantom festival drums or finding mysterious footprints. The Tanuki's symbolic meaning has also broadened. While its association with prosperity remains strongest, modern interpretations also see it as a symbol of resilience and adaptability, a creature that survives and thrives despite changing landscapes, both physical and cultural. Environmentalists sometimes invoke the Tanuki as a mascot for conservation, a native species, the real raccoon dog, and a mythical symbol of the wild spaces we are losing. Its journey from a folkloric being of uncertain intent to a national icon of good luck and now, potentially, an emblem of ecological awareness, shows how mythology is not static. It breathes, evolves, and finds new relevance, much like the Tanuki itself donning a new disguise for a new age. So what in the end is the essence of the Tanuki? It is not a deity to be worshipped in fear, nor a monster to be slain in epic battles. It is something far more pervasive and perhaps more true to the human experience of the natural world. The Tanuki is the spirit of the in-between, the space between forest and field, between night and day, between laughter and unease, between reality and illusion. It represents the land's boisterous, generous, yet utterly unconcerned vitality. Its myths teach us about the rewards of kindness, the pitfalls of greed, the pain of belonging nowhere, and the sheer, joyous spectacle of existence unbound by rigid form. It reminds us that the world is not always serious. It is often playful, absurd, and surprising. The Tanuki's enduring legacy is a testament to our need for a myth that doesn't just inspire awe, but also a chuckle, a creature that doesn't just command respect, but also invites affection. As you walk home tonight under the moon, past silent gardens and whispering trees, pay attention to the shadows that seem a little too round, the rustles that don't quite match the wind. You likely won't see it, but you might feel a presence, a sense of being watched not by a predator, but by a jovial, ancient spectator. And perhaps you'll smile, knowing that in the hidden heart of the world the drums are still beating, the transformations are still unfolding, and the great, chaotic, generous parade of the wild is forever marching on, just out of sight. Another legend fades, but the next awaits. Like this video, subscribe and continue the journey through myths.